Aside from being elected mayor, there's at least one other way to get to run a town: buy it. Discover American towns that have sold in recent years, and some that are still up for grabs. So really, can you buy a town? Yes, you can buy an entire town, although it's a complex process that involves significant legal, financial, and logistical considerations. The concept might sound like something out of a storybook or a whimsical fantasy, but it has been done before, with various towns and villages around the world being put up for sale for various reasons. Here, we will take a closer look at how it's possible and what it entails. From Michigan to Texas, there are curious properties on the market that are offering once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for dreamers who desire a unique lifestyle and a slice of historical ownership. Each of these tiny towns can be the ideal investment or retirement plan for the right buyer. So in today's video, we are going to show you 15 small American towns that you can buy. But before starting the video, I want to request you, we put our best efforts to create our every single video, so please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start. Number 15, Hell, Michigan. Don't be fooled by the name. Hell, Michigan, is a veritable paradise that hosts 66 miles of hiking trails, fishing-friendly Highland Lake, and an annual Blessing of the Bikes event. The peculiarly named town is still up for sale and comes with a price tag of $900,000. You can also buy 1 square inch of the community for $13.33. Surrounded by 400 acres of beautiful campgrounds, biking and hiking trails, a chain of lakes and channels, recreational areas for picnics, and so much more. Number 14, Sweat, South Dakota. Perfect for a DIY entrepreneur willing to put in sweat, or should we say sweat equity, to become independent and own his own town for the same price as an average tract house. The South Dakota prairie ghost town of Sweat is up for sale. The 6.6-acre unincorporated hamlet consists of a house with decent-sized kitchen and wood-burning fireplace included, and the formerly popular tavern and bar that was enjoyed by pheasant hunters returning from a day of sport. Attached to the tavern building is a large garage. The main draw of the tavern and bar was updated by the previous owner with all the elements that would make it a fun destination once a liquor license is re-established, including a stage for live music. Said to be haunted by the locals, as many abandoned towns are imagined to be, routing out any remaining ghosties will be easily done by bringing life back into this potentially charming prairie town just 123 miles from Rapid City near the Nevada border. Priced at only $250,000. Number 13, Lobo, Texas. Just north of Valentine, Texas, and just about 20 miles from the Mexico border, the abandoned desert city of Lobo, Texas is home to charming historic structures, a gas station, shower house, post office, and grocery store. The rise and fall of Lobo follow the same movement of the water table. When founded, Lobo was an oasis with the only water wells within 100 miles, making Lobo a natural place for trains to stop when Southern Pacific built the Southern Transcontinental Railroad in 1882. With the introduction of large-scale irrigation in the 1940s, Lobo became a farming community in the middle of the Texas desert. By the mid-1960s, the railroads no longer needed to stop for water, and the town's large-scale irrigation had caused the water table to drop significantly enough for the wells to run dry. In 2001, a collective of Germans from Frankfurt, Germany purchased the town for $20,000. But now you can rent this whole town. Number 12, Silverton, Colorado. If you are dreaming about owning an old town square, then this parcel of 21 acres in the old mountain mining town of Silverton, Colorado might be a worthy consideration. Priced at $1.58 million, the 9,148 square foot lot contains 2 commercial buildings, 3 rental spaces, a residence that's being used as a vacation destination, gift shop, and more. Situated near the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad Depot and historically part of the ghost town of Eureka, Colorado, the property also includes a boardwalk and all furnishings. And like most ghost towns for sale, this one doesn't include a spooky homeowners association. Silverton is a historic mining town established in 1874 in Baker's Park in the heart of the San Juan Mountains. After the Denver and Rio Grande Railway reached the town in 1882, the surrounding region experienced a mining boom that lasted until the 1910s. After World War II, tourism took hold as people visited the town for its scenery and history. Named a National Historic Landmark in 1961, Silverton now has a population of about 600 people and is the only town in San Juan County. Number 11, Wilcox, Arizona. Located just 1 hour east of Tucson, the Wilcox wine region produces 74% of the wine grapes grown in the state of Arizona. If a bed and breakfast business sounds appealing, this little slice 14 miles southeast of Wilcox, Arizona is worth a peek. The 3-acre parcel is located in a well-known ghost town and included 3 1870s adobes that house a greenhouse, workspace, and guest accommodations, a well, stone labyrinth, and views of the Dos Cabezas Peak. The current asking price is $519,000. Number 10, Gallup, New Mexico. Cleaved by historic Route 66 in the sprawling northwestern part of the state, this former coal mining town once served as a bustling rail construction outpost. The chug and whistle of trains still resound. This old fort and former military base has been home to Navajo code talkers and Buffalo soldiers, and now it's available for private ownership for $11 million. Encompassing 18 acres, the town includes the original trading post, gas station, post office, cafe, and 27 residential units. Situated near the Cibola National Forest and McGaffey Lake, the property is part of a National Historic Site. The past of Gallup. After the railroad arrived, dozens of coal mines were established within walking distance of the newly incorporated town of Gallup. The Rex Museum honors the area's original mining families and showcases antiques from the town's coal heyday. Shelves and cases are packed with a medley of day-to-day items and coal industry staples from the early 20th century. Lanterns, medical equipment, lunch boxes, even a contraption used to extract coal dust from miners' lungs. The building that houses the Rex Museum has its own storied past. Its previous incarnations include a brothel, a police substation, and a hobby shop. Number 9, Toomsboro, Georgia. Founded in the 18th century, this postcard-worthy former railway town boasts a historic inn, a syrup mill, and a railroad depot. Incorporated in 1904, the town of Toomsboro primarily grew as a whistle-stop town between Macon and Savannah along the Central Georgia Railroad. After the Civil War, the town developed an active downtown district which grew through its incorporation and remained active through the mid-20th century, even with a population that remained around 700. Many of the original structures, including the depot, several mills, a blacksmith workshop, bank, post office, and hotel, as well as several stores and homes, still exist today. Over time, several of the buildings were converted into other uses, such as the Swampland Opera House, which opened in 1975. While the entire town has never been for sale, about 30 properties have been on the market for $1.7 million. The owner of the swath of land, David Bumburn, paid $530,000 for the properties in 2002, intending to transform them into a tourist attraction. The bad news is that there are many people who already own a tiny town in the U.S. While the following tiny ghost towns aren't currently on the market, we've seen a few of these tiny towns change hands over the course of the past decade. Any of these might pop back up on the market soon. Number 8, Pray, Montana. Pray is located along the Yellowstone River in the heart of Paradise Valley. Pray offers picturesque views of the Absaroka mountain range in the Custer-Gallatin National Forest. Since its inception, this tiny town north of Yellowstone National Park called Pray, Montana, has always been privately owned. The previous owner and mayor, Barbara Walker, attempted to auction the town in 2012, but wasn't able to sell until 2018. Colin Burke and his girlfriend Rachel paid $420,000 for the property and has transformed the general store into a vacation rental and has added a few more Amish-built log cabin rentals that start at about $200 per night and accommodate 6 guests. The area offers recreational opportunities such as river fishing, camping, rental cabins, hiking, and much more. Pray is just a short drive from one of Montana's biggest attractions, Yellowstone National Park. Number 7, Johnsonville, Connecticut. Founded in 1802, the small village of Johnsonville in Connecticut has a fascinating history. The 62-acre town was once a large community filled with twine mills. It was then purchased by an eccentric businessman who turned it into a tourist attraction. When those plans failed, it was abandoned and fell into disrepair. In a bid to rescue the peaceful community and reopen its shuttered buildings, an independent church acquired the 62-acre ghost town in July 2017 for roughly $1.85 million. Johnsonville first rose to fame in the mid-1800s as the twine capital of America. It was home to several twine mills that were powered by the nearby Moodus and Salmon rivers. Several of the most prominent mills were owned by Emery Johnson, whose beautiful Victorian home still stands today. The area of worker housing that popped up alongside the mills would eventually become Johnsonville. The mills closed in the 1900s as the demand for twine diminished. A few of the mills eventually burned down, though some of the buildings remain. Today, Johnsonville is a ghost town in Connecticut that's waiting for its next life. Number 6. Calnevari, Nevada. You might need your reading glasses to find this 2.3 square mile desert hamlet on a map of Nevada. As one of the smallest towns in Nevada, which is home to a casino, airstrip, and classic diner, it sat on the market for more than 15 years before being sold for $8 million in 2021 to Heart of Nature, a sulfur mining company. The company plans to add dozens of jobs and up to $40 million in investments. This town is originally known as Stage Field. This was an outlying airfield of Camp Ibis, one of the 11 camps established within the Desert Training Center, California-Arizona Maneuver Area during World War II. Developed by General George S. Patton, Jr., the vast area was used from 1942 to 1945 to train troops for duty overseas. With the closure of the training area, much of the land reverted to the control of the Bureau of Land Management. Slim Kidwell, who had been operating the Torrance Airport, located the field while flying over the area. He saw promise in the area and decided to build a new community in southern Nevada. Using the Pittman Act, Slim and his wife Nancy filed on 640 areas in 1965. Naming the area Calnevari for its location near the three states, the Kidwells began building. Number 5. Tiller, Oregon. Tiller has easy access to a national forest, stunning views of the South Umpqua River, and a larger-than-life view of the Cascade Range. Part of the Pacific Northwest town, 257 acres of lots, were sold in 2018 by the Caswell family, who had slowly bought land over a period of 30 years until they owned most of the town. Garden Grove, California-based global shopping mall purchased the property with the intent to build a resort and a river playground for tourists along the Rogue River. As of last year, it still hadn't been built. Number 4. Henry River Mill Village, North Carolina. If the eerily quiet, tree-lined streets of this Carolina town look familiar, it's because the formerly abandoned community served as the location of Katniss Everdeen's home in the Hunger Games film franchise. Once a thriving cotton yarn manufacturing town, the mill was burned to the ground in 1977 after a lightning strike. Even though the 72-acre town's previous asking price was $1.4 million, it sold in 2017 for $360,000 and is currently off the market. However, you can vacation in the town with rates starting at about $280.50 per night. History of Henry River Mill Village. In 1904, Michael Erastus Rudisil laid out the mill and village on a 1,500-acre tract, chosen for its hydropower potential. The mill was incorporated as the Henry River Manufacturing Company and manufactured fine cotton yarns. In 1905, a 30-feet reinforced concrete dam was constructed with a 3-story brick mill building. The residential area of the village consisted of approximately 35 small workers' cottages. 20 are standing today. The workers lived in boarding houses or workers' cottages built by the company, which were leased at nominal fees. Since the loss of the main mill building, the centerpiece of the village today is the 2-story brick company store building. This building served as a mill office with the upper floor used as a schoolroom and for church services from 1907-1917. The Henry River Mill originally ran on water power. In 1914, a steam plant was installed, and then in 1926, the mill was converted to electric power. In its early years, the mill operated 4,000 yarn-making spindles. By the time it shut down in the late 1960s, the mill had 12,000 spindles and produced fine combed yarn for lace. The mill was closed for several years and was purchased in 1976. Equipment and materials were stored in the mill building when it burned in 1977. Since then, the abandoned town has been slowly deteriorating. Fortunately, the new owners have great vision and plan to preserve as much of the village as possible. Number 3, Garryowen, Montana. Garryowen is on the Little Bighorn River a few miles south of the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument and is within the boundaries of the Crow Indian Reservation. The Custer Battlefield Museum is located on the former site of Sitting Bull's Camp, on the famous Garryowen Bend of the Little Bighorn River, a traditional summer hunting campsite for many Plains Indian tribes. As the 7th Cavalry approached in late June of 1876, this was the site of one of the largest Indian gatherings ever recorded in North America. It may be hard to imagine, but part of the site of the Battle of Little Bighorn was unsuccessfully put up for auction in 2012 for just $250,000. This historical piece of land called Garryowen is just a few miles from the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, near where Colonel George Armstrong Custer unsuccessfully made his last stand against the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. The town of Garryowen, Montana, remains privately owned. Number 2, Scenic, South Dakota. Named after its spectacular setting in the center of Badlands National Park, Scenic fell into disrepair in the 21st century before it was finally put up for sale in 2011 for $799,000 and was on the market for just a few months before being sold to anonymous buyers. Once upon a time, the town of Scenic was a beloved hometown to many, serving as not only a friendly South Dakota community that so many of us have come to expect, but also as a convenient place to stop for travelers arriving in the Black Hills. Sadly, like countless other South Dakota communities, residents of the small town continue to move out over the years, leading for bigger towns and better opportunities in other parts of the state. The 12-acre town still bears intriguing vestiges of decades past, including an old saloon, a dance hall, and cowboy barracks. The fate of Scenic, South Dakota is yet to be decided, as the organization that bought it is still not using all of the buildings and homes. Number 1, Buford, Wyoming. Buford is located along Interstate 80 between Cheyenne and Laramie. Originally located along the railroad lines on the approach to Sherman Hill Summit and now the Ames Monument, the area is now a ghost town after its lone resident for nearly 2 decades left the area in 2011. Paying a visit to this all-but-forgotten town north of the Rockies will double its population. Currently, there is just one human and one horse living in Buford, which sits at about an 8,000-foot elevation along I-80. The town has a gas station that's also the town hall and trading post. The current owner purchased the town for $900,000 in 2012 during an online auction to promote his Vietnamese specialty coffee, which is available at the trading post. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.